All roads point to boomers. So what do I mean by this? We all know boomer generation. The years vary, obviously, but the most accepted standards generation born between 1946 to 1963, right? So what do I mean by all roads lead to boomers? As a quick disclaimer, I am, and I'm gonna have to keep this symbolized. I have to keep myself in my tone and my words in check because the things I really want to say, they're much harsher than this. But there's so many blames that could be thrown at the feet of boomers. If you're a millennial like I am, they are your parents. If you're a Gen Z, they're your grandparents, and that's where we stand, right? You know, when you look at Gen Z and millennial today, and you say again by the law of averages, what level of entitled pieces of shit that most of these kids are nowadays? Well, you know who to point fingers at, right? Yes, of course, we always have to take accountability for ourselves first. That's a fact. I would say, especially after the age of 30, you cannot still sit there and say, my grievances because my family, my grandparents, they fucked me over. No, that's on you now. You're a loser. You fucked up. All right? At some point, you have to be an adult. You have to accept responsibility. Yes, you might be starting the game of life from a negative position, a negative stance, but you have to be a warrior. You have to make the most of it. When you study boomers, when you watch them, one remains in awe at the sense of how do these people have accumulated the most amount of wealth in human history, and if are they not the literal definition of right place, right time? Because they're also very cocky, bastards. Let me just use that word rather than and something else. But the level of arrogance and cockiness, it's laughable. It's these people are the true definition of the originators of the clown world. Like that's all I see when I talk to boomers, when I engage with them. Now, is there no self-aware boomers? Is there no boomers that are worth respecting? Yeah, but by and large, absolutely not. Absolute dog shit behavior, absolute dog shit mentality, entitlement through the roof when it comes to so many things. One of my closest friends, we were having a barbecue the other day, and he told all of us in the group, he's like, I just made my peace with the fact that millennials are just meant to be the IT generation for boomers. And this conversation spurred about my conversation, my frustrations and experiences with my own family, where they're retired. And now I sit there and ask, what project do you have with life? A project could be anything. A project could be, it doesn't necessarily involve money or a job. Anything and everything could be a project, as long as it's long term, as long as it's some kind of leveling up XP. Nothing. These people these are the so-called people that have accumulated so much wealth, so much of the housing properties, and these are the people that are supposedly supposed to pass on the biggest wealth transfer in human history to millennials and Gen Z, right? What are we talking, like $75 trillion plus? And you sit there and you talk to these people and you observe them. You're like, you don't know shit from fuck. Most of you don't know shit from fuck, but here you are. And the level of balls on you, the level of arrogance on you to sit there and say, had you been born in the era of today's world, sometime in the 90s or 2000s, and then sit there and say, I would have been even much greater than I am today. It's, I tell them straight to their face, you most likely would have been homeless, right? I've had the same conversation with my own uncles, exactly like this. You definitely would have been homeless. Had you been born, not only would you have been a virgin incel loser, you definitely also would have been homeless too. And the way they take it, they never learn how to grow up because, again, hard times make strong men, right? And that's what we have to become now as millennials and Gen Z men. We have to become the strong men. We have no choice. We don't have a choice. We don't have leeway. But for them, because they grew up in a much easier era. But of course, if you ask them, it's the whole running story, the joke about I had to, walk 20 kilometer uphill to school, and when I came home 20 kilometer downhill, 20 kilometer uphill also from school to, the level of the lies, the deception, the level of inflation, man, these people. But yeah, I would tell them straight to their face, I'm like, there's absolutely zero chance you would have been an incel and you would have been jobless. Don't even pretend for a second. Like, stop lying. Take the alcohol out of your mouth. Okay, take the alcohol out of your mouth. That courage juice that you guys all grew up with, take that out of your mouth for 2 seconds. Drink a few glasses of water. shut the fuck up and listen. You would have been an incel and homeless. I guarantee you. And if you want to have a full-on discussion about it without no ad hominems, no name calling, no straw man, no nothing, I will explain to you exactly who you are, your behavior, right? This is what I do. This is one of my favorite things. I love to study people. It's part of, psychology and philosophy, like how people operate. What's their operating system like? And here I would break it down for you. And obviously the conversation would always end up them being speechless because they understand you can only shovel your own shit so far. At some point, you either got to drop the shovel or you got to double down. And we all know what the definition of insanity is, right? Doing the same shit over and over again, expecting different results. And I am one of those people that will definitely call your shit out about how you're being a fucking insane. But yeah, boomers, man. I mean, so you look at millennials and Gen Z, how entitled they are, how they're so pussified, right? They're so weak. They're so, again, law averages. This not applicable for all of them. Definitely not applicable for all of them. I've seen some courageous warriors when it comes to both millennials and Gen Z. Some people that I truly admire. Some people where I've seen them do ridiculous feats, of human endurance, human intelligence, pain, suffering. Again, it goes deep. It runs deep. But boomers, man, I'm telling you. I mean, I'm going to die on this hill. The more I get older, the more I level up in life and all the aspects that I'm trying to level up in. And the more I talk with boomers, the more I realize you are the definition of right place and right time. You could be definitely considered a scourge, a plague on this earth. Your generation, the level of entitlement. Imagine the balls on these people, the fact that they think they're entitled to have other people do some of the most basic shit for them, right? Again, like you have the free time. You can learn how simple things, how your cell phone works. You can learn a new language. You can, when you go to a new country. Boomers, when they were younger, when they went to a new country, majority of them, did they end up learning language? No, not. And the number is definitely above 50%. I'm not gonna say all, but obviously you guys will never hear me say always and never. I will never speak in absolutes and certainties because that is the sign of a person that's very disingenuous and there's no intelligence there to be had. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, the level of arrogance with these people that you go to a new country, you don't incorporate yourself in the culture, you don't you don't learn the language, you don't keep up with the modern day technology, and all because of what? Who do you think you are to not even, take on these feats? And if you ask them why, obviously, then you'll get to hear about the lies about how my life was so difficult, it was so hard, everything was just so much harder back then. But then you look at them, you're like, but homie, you guys are all living to you're if we go by the math, 63, right? 1963. So those boomers are like 63 years old now, and the oldest boomers are what, pushing 80 now? Yeah, right. Yet you're still alive. You guys are retiring in mass numbers. Well, what was the number I heard a few years ago? About 10,000 boomers are retiring a day. You're retiring with the biggest portfolio, whether if it's like real estate portfolio or stock market portfolio ever in human history. If your life was so goddamn hard, so damn difficult, I would see you guys, you'd be worn down completely. Stress would have taken away all your teeth, your hairs would have been grayed out. But I see a lot of you. You are literally upholding the vacational tourism industry for many of the countries around the world today. Like, you do understand, right? Gen Z and millennials, yeah, some of them do go, but most of them are broke as shit. They can't afford any of that. So it's literally you. And yeah, you get to sit there with the audacity to say, like, I've earned this, and like, this is how I'm making up for years. Like, what the hell are you making up for? Do you know what the average millennial and Gen Z has to juggle today just to even get by? How many things they have to learn? How many things they have to become the masters of, right? Here's a story, true story. I went to a very reputable location in Canada, big franchisee, to get my battery changed. Very simple, you would think, right? I mean, no harm, no done. Just let's get it done. After I got my battery replaced, come home. 1 week later, I start having battery problems. And is this the first time this happened to me in Canada? Absolutely not. Every year I get older, the level of incompetency in the Western nations, and I can mainly speak for Canada, is through the roof. It's absolutely a shit show out here, right? So the battery starts causing problems. The car has trouble with cranking. So what do? My boomer dad, I ask him, I shit you guys not, literally. You need to get rid of this car, buy a new car. The car has a brand new engine. The car runs like a beautiful song. Not a single sound, not a peak. The car runs beautifully. So the problem begins as soon as I get this battery change. Apparently it's the car's fault. I guess even boomers have no ability to compartmentalize anything too. I mean, what can you say about these people? Like the level of degradation here with the... So I took it upon myself because I don't trust. Because the level of trust, I live in a low trust society. I live in a society where, yeah, I have to say it. I mean, not every immigrant is bad, but at the same time, I saw who was working on my car, right? I did. And they were people of color. And since it was a battery issue, there's no ifs, buts, this, that here. I know what happened to my car. This person did a mediocre shit job on my car. This person was probably hired cheaper on the dollar for obvious reasons, right? YouTube videos and using AI. I actually went to Amazon. I bought the tools. I bought a meter to, measure like electricity gauge, the voltages and all that. I bought socket tools, wrenches, and I fixed the battery myself. So do you see what I mean? A small, simple story, but there's a big tail there, right? You have to now become the master of many things. And obviously this takes so much time away from the things I wanted to do, the things I want to dedicate time to. And that's where the world is reverting back to now. We're reverting back to that now. Okay. I don't know what to say. I mean, I have so much to say. Boomers, man. No, seriously, boomers, man. Like it's insane. It's ridiculous. Like no ability to problem solve. There's no ability to, actually, like I said earlier, compartmentalize and break down the problem and like see it through for what it is. Just throw money at it. Just throw money at the problem. What a mind job. What a mentality. What a way they grew up. Yet they are also like how millennials and Gen Z play the victimhood card. Like when it suits them, that's where they learn it from. They learn it from their boomer parents or their grandparents. 100% guaranteed, right? There's a reason why millennials are, for example, especially are called the daycare generation. Who put them there? Who put them there? I mean, the question kind of answers for itself. Who put them there, right? You boomers have a lot to pay for. I'm very happy that some of you are aware of that. A lot of you are fully in your cope phase and you will never accept the fact that you've done no wrong. It's just the younger generations are shit, apparently, even though that's been said for every generation since time immemorial. But you really have so much sin, so much dirt on your hands. And I tell the same thing to any boomer that's going to watch this, any boomer that I'm going to meet in the future, any boomer I met in the past, and my parents included. You will not die without suffering the consequences for your actions. Especially when it comes to young men of today. You will not die. You have robbed young men of every single opportunity they had. You hold all the political keys to the power, finance, economics, all of it. And you have completely decimated young men. You were the first generation to dive headfirst into feminism without even fully understanding what the fuck this is and what's the consequences of it. So that also says anything thing about you, the fact that you have pretty much zero capability to have any comprehension of the future, like any foresight is non-existent. So, and the whole conversation about wisdom and all those things. When a woman talks to you about wisdom, you have to laugh your ass off because you're like, wisdom always has to be accompanied by foresight, seeing 5-10 moves into the future. If I do this, what could be the outcome of that? And then that branches out to different, actions, and then you have to see them. You have to see through with that in your mind. Those, like, what did this branch out to? What did this branch out to? And then so on and so forth, right? Yeah, so that also non-existent. I wish I could sit here and say like there's just some good things to say about these people. I wish I could say like boomers do deserve some credit, but for what? To what end? Who am I gonna lie to here? Like, I mean, like, we all know this. I just want them to know this. And I told them, my parents, my biggest worries, I swear to God, is because these young men the future that you robbed them from, one of them is going to walk up to you on the street one day with vengeance in their heart and straight stab you in the chest because they have nothing to live for. Because every society's asshole puckers at the idea of young men full of testosterone in groups, in gangs, with no future, no hope, no society, nothing they respect. That is what makes a society's asshole pucker. And once again, it was never the woman. It's always the men. That's why feminism here to destroy men. Feminism is not about equality. I know I have to tie it in, but it's all related. I told you guys, I will say it again. There's only one evil, but it manifests itself in many different forms. So yeah, you boomers, huh? What a mind job you guys are. What a mind job you guys are. You will suffer the consequences of your actions. You're not gonna just get to punch the ticket out, rob an entire generation. You are definitely you are cold, and your generation is known as economic vampirism. That's what you're associated with. You're associated with being a vampire. You're a leech. You suck from the younger generations, from me and the Gen Z. And that's all I gotta say about this one for now. Thank you for watching. Please comment, subscribe, and like. It would be wonderful.